Offensively, where we were struggling to get shots was the first almost 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. We scored 2 points, and we were really struggling there. Other than that, our offense was fine. Look, it's the same thing. I mean, our guys are hanging in there. People had a lot to say about them in their fourth quarters after the Phoenix game, and since then it's been an entirely different story. We've shown a lot of character and a lot of fight, and that's all a good sign. It's incumbent on me and 14 players and 8 assistant coaches. We got to get the defense right. I mean, I know this is a really good offensive team, but we're just not able to count on our defense enough throughout the game, and we couldn't get key stops down the stretch either until the last one. 14.7 seconds to go. Tremendous effort. Force them to take a timeout, then get a steal and go down. I was sure we'd get a great look at it. And I thought we passed up 2 good looks, to be quite honest. But a good fight by our guys against a very good team on the road, second night of a back-to-back. And again, it's a broken record. I've got to get it's not all on me. We've got to get the defense figured out because we have a chance to be good.
That was the next question, Coach, because you had to get some type of play on that inbounds, which you did, and you did get the steal. And I guess the question is, there was a lot of pass and nobody got a shot up, and that was really frustrating. How frustrating was it for you?
Yeah, it was frustrating, I mean, to see guys pass up shots who worked hard to get themselves in that position and everything else. So I thought the best look we had was Lonzo's. He knows it. And, he was 6 for 10 from 3 tonight. Would have liked to have seen that one gone up. But, hey, that's really easy to say sitting where you guys do watching TV and where I do standing on the bench. We're all standing there watching, and it's easy to say that should have happened. And he will tell you that should have happened, but it's a little tougher when you're out there in real time against NBA players flying around and stuff. And so I'm not going to fault him on that. He's playing outstanding basketball. Wouldn't have had a shot in this game if it wasn't for him. So, just a mistake, and hopefully we learn from it and move on and do a better job on Saturday night.
Hey, Stan, Christian Clark here. You guys go down 8 with, I think, 8:23 to go, and then, you fight back into the game on the second night or back-to-back. I mean, did you like just your team's fight in this game?
I did. I was proud of our guys. Listen, I mean, so much of what we do in sports is, we magnify the good and the bad based on the result. And in a one-possession game, it's like, Boston makes one more shot and it's a loss, and what we're talking about is the fact that we've gotten a big hole down 24. But because they don't and we win, we talk about how hard we come back. And tonight it's sort of the opposite story. Now the story is we passed up shots on the last possession, and I'm not talking about your guys' story. I'm talking about even ours, right? And we didn't score in the last 2 minutes. If we make that shot, we're talking about our character and our heart. I mean, it's all whether the ball goes in or not, and it's sort of crazy. So to me, I felt about our guys tonight pretty much the same as I felt about them after the Boston game, quite honestly. Really proud of them. Our defense wasn't as good as it was, say, down the stretch in the Boston game. But in terms of fighting and staying in a really competitive game, yeah, really proud of our guys. Again, tonight, I'm not going to let, one bucket here or there change the way I look at what they did.
Yeah, you mentioned just the reaction to that Phoenix game, and obviously you don't get the result you wanted tonight, but do you feel like things are starting to move in the right direction where you wanted to go since that game?
Well, we've played better. Listen, I think the mistake that players, coaches, fans, media, everybody makes is when you start thinking like you turned the corner, right? Things like that. There's no corners. There's no corners and there's no track. It's just one long-ass grind is what it is. And in that, just like when you're running a marathon, there's going to be ups, the hills, and downhills, and that's the way it goes. And so it's about, hopefully what we're learning is you got to bring it every night, no matter who you're playing, to give yourselves a chance. It's got to be that kind of approach. As soon as you think like, okay, we've got it now, we've arrived, somebody will humble you very quickly and make it very clear that you have not arrived. And so for us, it's just next game. Learn from what happened, next game. And there's going to be ups and downs the whole way, and we've got to continue to fight and get better. And the main thing is we got to find answers at the defensive end of the floor. That's incumbent on me, and it's incumbent on them in terms of what they bring to the floor defensively.
Hey, Stan, Andrew from ESPN. Obviously, it's a tough game. You guys had to finish off Detroit last night. Do you think fatigue played any part in that fourth quarter, or your guys slowing down maybe just a little bit?
You never know. If fatigue played a part. We were tired. I think they were tired too, for that matter. Guys played a lot of minutes, so you never know on that. You can guess, but had our guys been able to sit down longer in the fourth quarter or something last night, would it have helped tonight? I don't know. There's just no way of knowing on that. Like you said, it's not like we collapsed in the fourth quarter due to fatigue, right? We held them to 22 points in the fourth quarter, and we were down and came back and took the lead. So it's really hard to point to fatigue and things like that. We had opportunities, and we either passed up the opportunity or missed shots. It was just one of those games. They made a couple more plays than we did.
Yeah, hey, Stan, Doug at WWL TV. The minute and a half left, you're down one, and Zion makes that drive, and Brook Lopez blocks his shot, and there's no call. Zion looked visibly frustrated on that one. Could you talk about that play, what you saw on it, and were you okay with the no call?
Well, I think, it's really interesting to me. I know I'm biased. There's no question. It's your own player, you're biased. But I've been watching all year, and the guy gets fouled on 3/4 of his drives. And so he's got 34 points tonight. He didn't make a three. All of his points are in the paint, and he shot 5 free throws. I'm not buying that. I'm just not buying that. He doesn't, and he hasn't been at it as long, and he doesn't quite get the same calls that Giannis gets. So on a particular play, I can't tell you till I watch the film on a particular play. But man, he was going at the basket a lot, and there were no calls. So yeah, that's frustrating to everybody. They didn't have a foul in the fourth quarter. So, they didn't have a foul in the fourth quarter. Great job by them, to go 12 minutes in a tightly contested game and not foul anybody.
Hey, Stan, it's Rachel. That was very diplomatic, by the way.
Trying to save money, Rachel, trying to save money.
The bigger picture question for you. Just now that you've had a few months here under your belt, what's different about coaching this team this time around than the previous teams you've coached?
Well, you know what, Rachel? That's really hard to say, because what's really different is just the whole situation in the NBA. This year is just beyond description. It's all about COVID, and there's no fans, and there's so many restrictions on the road. The schedule's so condensed. These guys are exhausted. I'm not just talking about our guys. Everybody. There's no release because you can't do anything. It's just everything is different. So if it were a more normal year, I might be able to give you an answer in terms of coaching and basketball. But quite honestly, this whole thing is, I have a lot of respect for the players in the league. Certainly for our guys, I see every day what they go through. Here's what last night was. So we end the game at 9, a little after 9. They have to COVID test then. Now we fly to Milwaukee and get into the hotel. They have to COVID test at 2 a.m. And we got here before then. So they had to wait and COVID test at 2 a.m. because, look, you never know in 5 hours what might have happened, somebody being infected. So they had to COVID test at 2 a.m. Then they had to get up and do the rapid test between 11 and 11:30 this morning so that we could have a 1 o'clock walkthrough. And then they come over. So they tested 3 times within 15 hours. very hard to sleep and everything. And again, I'm not making an excuse because every team in the league's going through this.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying out of respect for the players, so we could have a walkthrough. Then they try to get a little nap. Now they play a game. They got to test again. I mean, I'm glad we can fit a little bit of basketball into this COVID testing league.
Thank you, Stan.
Okay,
Nice to
Rachel.
see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
And you mentioned all the shots Zion took in the paint tonight. I'll give it the positive spin and ask you: have you seen anything quite like his ability to generate so many shots directly at the rim? I mean, you look at his shot chart, and it's just a whole bunch of green dots right around the rim. Have you seen anything quite like that before?
I mean, the closest would probably be Giannis, right? I mean, he gets a lot of shots at the rim too. Now he's shooting a few more jumpers, but he didn't early on. I mean, Giannis has been at this a lot longer than Zion has. So I would think he would be the closest comparison of a non-center anyway of what goes on. So I didn't think that I did a great job tonight of finding ways in the second half to generate more offense for him. So I got to take a look at that. But yeah, he did a great job, and then Brandon came alive in the second half. Even though he was struggling from three, he came alive on his other shots, and we had some good offensive moments tonight. We just couldn't stop them. And that's a broken record, and a lot of people haven't been able to stop them, but we certainly couldn't tonight.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys.